There's this well-known quote from the novel Anne of Green Gables that says, "I'm so glad to live in a world where there are Octobers." It goes pretty hard on Instagram this time of year. And with good reason. What's not to love about October? It's that time of year where you can watch the leaves change, you can enjoy pumpkin-flavored everything, and you can suddenly remember you forgot to file your taxes 6 months ago. But also, I think it's the perfect time to start that art project you've been thinking about. Maybe you've been turning over a novel idea in your mind, or maybe you've been daydreaming about this painting that you're envisioning, or maybe you've been thinking about getting back into ceramics. Whatever it is, let me encourage you to take full advantage of October. There's this growing movement online talking about how making New Year's resolutions in January is kind of depressing. And in some ways, you're setting yourself up for failure. I get with the year changing over, it's the perfect time to examine your life and think about how you might want to change things up or pivot in the future. But it's also cold and barren. The magic of the holiday season has faded away. It gets super dark at like 4 p.m. And then suddenly you remember you forgot to file your taxes 9 months ago. It's hard to transform your life when all you really want to do is hibernate. That's why there's been this growing movement online encouraging people to start re-examining their goals in the fall. If you think about it, we've kind of been hardwired since childhood to think about the fall as a time for starting something new. It's the time of year where we would begin a new school year, meet new people, get new school supplies, and then get made fun of at school for those supplies because our mom bought us the store brand notebook and not the cool 5-star notebook. Maybe this makes me like a weird nerd, but even now, as a dude rapidly approaching 40, I still get excited when I see stores rolling out those back-to-school displays, even though they seem to do it now in like the middle of July, which is kind of weird to me. But there's something about seeing those packages of pens and the fresh notebooks that make my fingers start itching to create. So why suppress that feeling for another 3 to 4 months just to get to January? So this October, I want to encourage you to lean into your art. But I don't want this to be something where you put a lot of pressure on yourself. A lot of times with New Year's resolutions, we heap all this pressure on our shoulders where we're like, okay, January 1, I gotta wake up and be a completely new person. But that's not really how change works. Very rarely can people work up enough willpower to totally transform overnight. Because even though you're excited about the possibility of changing your life, the truth is, change takes time. So even though you may be moving towards something new, you wake up and realize you still have the same job, and the same terrible boss, in the same apartment with the leaky faucet, and the same family stressors. So nothing really feels new, and that can be defeating. That's why when it comes to making art, you shouldn't take on this hustle culture mindset where you're like, oh, okay, I gotta wake up at 5 a.m. and I gotta drink coffee for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then I grind until my head hits the pillow at night. That's toxic. Rather than thinking you have to overhaul your life overnight, when it comes to making art, I think you should think about just pivoting slightly to become a truer version of the person you already are. If you're watching this video, I assume you're an artist of some kind, or maybe you dream of making art. So for this season, I just want you to ask yourself, what would it look like if you allowed your art to take up more space in your life? What would it look like if you recognized your art as something valuable and prioritized your time with it? Maybe this means pulling out your sketchbook at lunch rather than pulling out your phone. Or maybe it means setting aside an hour every other day to make sure you're creating. Again, this isn't about overhauling your life completely. It's about finding those windows of time where you can focus on being an artist. It's less about changing who you are and instead distilling yourself down to the essence, shredding those parts of your life that no longer serve you. But to be clear, it's not about being selfish. I'm not telling you you should lock your kids in the basement for an hour so you can focus on your art because some random guy on YouTube told you it was a good idea. Instead, I want you to look at your life and think about the ways that you're maybe already just killing time. I think we're all guilty of filling up our hours with doom scrolling or exercising or hanging out with friends or even consuming content about making art rather than just making the art ourselves. And none of those things are bad on their own, well, except maybe the doom scrolling, but we have to find balance. If we can chisel pockets of time away from those things to focus a little bit of time on something that we actually care about, why shouldn't we? And I can't tell you exactly what this will look like for you because I don't know exactly what your life looks like. But I have a feeling if you took a few days and wrote down everything you did and how long it took you, if you look at that list, I guarantee you can probably find some time to focus on making art. It's October. The leaves are dying, so maybe some of our unhealthy habits should die with them. So I hope you don't feel like you have to wait until January to try something new. I hope you'll give it a shot in October. If you liked this video, I hope you'll consider giving it a thumbs up. That really helps out small creators like me. And if you like videos about making art and the creative process, I hope you'll consider subscribing, because that's mainly what I talk about on this channel. If you do, I'll see you on the next one. Now go make some art.